The internet sucks.
Yeah, I mean, what else is new? But hey, we should be back live.
Are we back? I don't know.
It might take a second before they recognize
It's
it.
it's possible before anyone notices.
Yeah.
Isn't like streaming live incredible?
Yeah, it's pretty
Especially
fantastic.
when we're fighting like a really specific drug window.
Exactly. Yeah. I definitely I do pine for the times before live mattered, when we just recorded offline and
I do.
it was done when it was ready, and everyone got it when it was done.
Yeah, I appreciated that time. Though I have to say there is a definitive like little, I do appreciate being able to take the tone of the world
Yes.
as we
Yeah.
speak.
No, the benefit of holding your finger up and catching the pulse is there. However, the whole thing with like schedules and stuff, we used to just go, "Hey, how's your week looking? When should we do it?" And then
And the answer was always the week's looking good because none of us do shit.
whatever the fuck. But ultimately, it would shift and move and slide. And so the moment it got like nailed down to a specific time with expectations,
Oh, it's hard now. Actually,
really, I didn't enjoy
I have a
that.
dentist appointment. Oh no.
Because like, what the fuck is they're late? What the fuck is being late when there never was a time?
Yeah, man.
There never was a time. I fucking this gig is to not have a job where you can be late. The whole point is for that shit to fucking not matter.
I mean, it's like no one. I mean, well, you're your own boss, so the only person that you have to answer to is yourself. And when you hear that originally as like a young person, you're like, oh man, that sounds so relaxing and freeing. And then you're like, wait a second, I can treat myself like a complete piece of fucking shit that no one would ever be able to get away with.
Hey, so if I were employed by myself at this point, the thing to do would be to get your insurance and be like, I'm off of work with an injury.
Bye, bitch.
But because I'm self-employed and I'm not here out here spying on myself to see if my claims are real or not.
This motherfucker's posting kite flying pictures when his back is supposed to be out. Can you believe it?
Exactly. I'm in fact, what I am doing is going, all right, well, maybe we can compromise and I can use enough drugs to feel okay for 2 hours to do a mini podcast. And
you totally can.
And by mini podcast, I mean a normal length podcast.
For normal people.
In fact, double, because a lot of podcasts are about 1 hour these days. Really.
I can tell you that like you can, unless you have the genetic thing that I have, you can definitely use enough drugs to get through a regular length podcast.
Oh yeah, you could beat a bunch of red and white checks. So I was originally just going with some Aleve and Robaxacet and some.
Oh, that's bullshit. You need that prescription nonsense. Yeah, I know that smile. I know that's yeah. All right,
codeine, baby.
Yeah.
Codeine.
Codeine's your friend.
This podcast is brought to you by Codeine.
Oh, your friend Codeine.
Yeah.
The first love.
The mayor, Codeine Travers.
So Wooly, what happened to your back? What happened?
Well, so I mean, basically, I have been attempting to be healthier. By last time my back got fucked up, it was because I laughed too hard at the Disco Elysium bit in the diner, and I was also, at my most like heaviest and like just on a terrible couch for streaming long term.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that was a bad sign.
It was a very bad sign, and
a non-extraneous activity taking your ass out is bad.
Absolutely, and it was a bad chair. It was a bad and it was a bad lack of activity, and such. So I was just like, oh yeah, my back is in no shape for any kind of sudden thing. I have since done a lot, and I've been trying to move a bunch more. And so I've created a bit of a regimen where I'm like, okay, I have my little boxing thing on the wall behind me. I've got my walks I can take. I've got the workout gym, and then I've got a boxing gym that I do to, whatever. So after a little bit of time off and after the cabin and stuff, went back to do some boxing proper in the boxing gym. And I had not moved in, I guess it's been about like 2 weeks or so. So I started out with how you usually start with boxing: grab some jump rope. So you do some skipping rope movements, and about 2 jumps in, I felt
Oh, like immediately.
immediately,
Like,
immediately, I jumped and I felt the pull, and it was like something's not right, you know. And it was that sudden like, okay, but it was and it was like, all right, but then I was like, I don't know. I guess like it hurt, but then I was like, this could just be a
fuck
little.
this.
It could just be a little like
No.
tightness, right? So, 10 rounds later,
Stupid. Are you serious?
I kept going, and uh, it was ultimately like I was actually able to complete it. The moment I kind of felt that thing, I was like, it didn't kick in, because it didn't kick in right away at the fullest, right? And like I did some stretches, but I didn't do, I guess, the right stretches or so. But anyway, that by the time I finished, I kind of was like, okay, let's see where we're at with that. And I kind of sat down and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna need some ice. And I got some ice and I started icing it. And I'm like, that feels like it needs some. And yeah, I mean, got home and felt the return of what was there a couple years ago, and it basically started getting like a lot more painful and stuff. And there's more to it that but like I will say, the part where I kept working out, which is the part that elicits the crazy reaction here, it was it was not enough info. It hurt, but it didn't fully kick in until afterwards. That's the thing.
Okay, so
it was deceitful, and like I will say that, like, I know when I feel something enough to stop, but in this case,
that's now a verifiable untruth, I have to say. That is not accurate.
I've been injured before in a way where I know when it's extreme enough to be like, hey, that's something that is clearly wrong. In this case, it was not enough immediately, because I've also felt similarly in other times where I've been like, it's just like you need to like kind of like stretch that out a bit, give it a second, and like there's been times where it has not been serious, where you kind of have something like that, right?
I have a very important question. These times that you were referring to where you were like, but it's like wasn't like a big deal. Were you in the second half of 30 in those instances?
Yeah, no, I was.
Okay, well, the God has decided that now you are in the second half of 30 for real.
Yes, no, I know.
And it is over now.
So,
winging it is now over.
For sure. But anyway, I felt it on the skip, and then yeah, when I got back in and like things had cooled down and stuff, I was like, okay, fuck. Well, I can tell that certain movements, certain things are like really really sharp. It was like a 7 on 10 pain or so. Lie down and then go to get back up, and I'm like, upon getting up, I'm like, oh, that's a 10. That's a 10 on 10. Like, whenever you do like the pain scale rating, there's always a bit of a like, I never would go that high on the numbers, because I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, well, a 10 is my arm is getting ripped off, right?
Yeah, no, that is like, dude, there are 2 pain scales. There's the pain scale that the average person does, and there's the pain scale that people who have had a lot of pain in their life go through, which ends up getting them under medicated, because they go, well, I'm not dying. It's just like agony.
That's what yeah, exactly. Right. And so that's the thing, is like, I'm like, whenever you get asked about that 1 to 10, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not bleeding out. My intestines are not in my hands. That's a 10. So we're not here. Right. But it's like, no, that's not probably actually what they're asking you for. And what I do know that like what I felt was excruciating, right? In the moment, getting back up, and I was like, right, I remember this from a few years ago. Fuck. So All right. Well, fortunately, I kept a lot of what I had from back then. So I've got
Hey.
I've got the brace of that it's on. I've got the chair. I've got the pads. I've got the heating thing. All these little things. The inversion table was downstairs. We pulled that out. I got the kneeling thing. All that stuff that was there, ready to go. I was like, right, good. Held on to that. So this can like help right off the bat. Um, and it was just it was just one of those things where staying in the same position in any whether seated or not or standing or whatever just sucked. Just kind of
Yeah.
walking around, living day to day, 7 on 10 like type of pain. And yeah, I don't know. I had definitely had a moment of being like, when it was at its worst, waking up where I was like, oh fuck, like if this is what getting old and like having this chronic thing is like, if this is what
Mhm.
it is, this is a really horrible existence.
Yeah, Paige has had after her back injury with her, I forget what it was discs or something, but she's walking and all that shit, but she's basically in constant pain all the time.
Yeah. I have a stepdad as well who's got some serious back injury stuff, and it's a regular thing. And like, you definitely it's one of those bits where like last time you realize that like, oh, you need this for every single thing you do. Your lower
Oh yeah,
back is involved in
your core
every
the
single
best everything
activity,
apparently.
you know. So yeah, so it's agony, Anyway, so I mean,
I remember my dad when he blew up his finger, blew up his index finger, and then they reconstructed it, but it hurt. It always hurt because there wasn't enough meat left, so the bone was scratching the inside of his finger. And like for there was like a good 2 years where he's like, you know, I could just have another accident, and then my finger wouldn't hurt anymore.
hmm,
And we're like, Dad, please don't go chop your fucking finger off in an industrial accident on
Christ.
purpose. And he
Yeah.
was like, yeah, it's really annoying.
When it actually becomes reasonable to consider removing it entirely,
Well, it's a finger, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's not like your leg or your spine.
yeah. No, I remember, I forgot, there was some time ago when I kind of was like, remember every once in a while when you're feeling okay and just go, oh shit, I'm not sick or like injured
Yes,
right now. Have those moments where you go, damn, right, okay, cool, it's
this
cool.
rules actually.
Yeah, just remind yourself out of the blue that it's cool, that everything's all right. Um, yeah, because this is a fucking bad one, and I was like, okay, can I, just sit and record or something? No, no, definitely not. I can't focus or do anything particular. I can basically just rotate between a couple different positions of like sitting and then um inversion table and then kneeling and then
Yeah.
like whatever.
Trying to
So
find that one twist that
uh
didn't stab.
exactly, try to find the one angle. Yeah. So it was like, okay, how fast can I go see a physio? And I was able to.
Apparently, really fast.
Yeah, it wasn't a regular one, but it was one that I was able to see a day or two later. And
Mhm.
from doing some tests and stuff, it's like, okay, I was originally concerned that, you know, we were talking about like a herniated disc or something like that, nerve related or so. And fortunately, that's not the case. It's acute lumbago, which
Mhm.
is basically the muscle around the spine is weakened, and because this is already a weak point, it's
Yeah.
like basically just like, yeah, you have a fucking X spot, and you gotta
Don't
strengthen
touch
that.
that part.
Um, so that is a super duper real thing that is like, okay, the good news is that like instead of taking months, it can take weeks, because muscle correction is faster than nerve or spinal,
Right.
shit.
Yeah. Well, I
Uh,
mean, shit, Willie, when you hurt your back last time and it was your disc, like the podcast was out for weeks and
I
weeks.
was. It took a. It
You were just out.
took a very long time. Took a very long time. I think. Yeah. So, but fortunately, in this case, it is a. It should be quicker than that. So that was kind of the good news to it. It was like, all right, it's mainly just muscle, and I have been, I got some exercises to do, and yeah, between that and the drugs, it's like, all right, cool, that'll tide me over. And as I mentioned, I feel like the drugs in particular do good enough to reduce that number to a low enough number that I can like function and feel.
So you're sitting there and you're like, but you're not like,
Yeah, no, and I can feel
Yeah.
kind of normal for a few hours. And I would say too as well, because last time I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and it took a long time to get everything ready.
yeah.
This time around, because I had everything ready, like I got to a stabler place much quicker. It's been 3 days, and it's like it feels like a lot better than it did,
I'm glad.
compared to last time by this point. So, yeah. So there's always that kind of thought too. There's times where I'm like, okay, well, like maybe I can be productive with the time. It's like, you can't fucking focus on anything.
Fully
You can't
rest
think
and
of-
recuperation is productive.
Yeah, you literally can't. I'm like, there's whatever other things I was thinking of that were around, or I'm just like, I can't do any of that. I can pass the time by finding something really nice, slow paced, and perhaps even turn based, to ignore for hours and come back to. And you'd think I would say Balatro.
I thought you were going to say Balatro, but then you said find.
Yes,
So it's not Balatro.
it is not Balatro. However, I've spent pretty much the last couple days just poking away at a game, and it is a phenomenal game that I played on stream this week. It's called Shogun Showdown. It's really fucking good.
Time to punch it in.
Yeah. I wanted to take a look. I wanted to play some fighting games. I wanted to take a look at Metaphor. I wanted to poke at some of the other things. But I legit, like, times like now, I can't focus on anything story related or action related or response time related. I need the most basic turn based nothing to just.
You need
Yeah.
you need something that you can click on and then go, oh,
Exactly.
all right, I'm okay.
Exactly.
And get back to it with no interruption.
So playing a fighting game or playing Metaphor sound like the worst possible, most unappealing things to me when I'm feeling like this right now. Just so anybody understands that. Literally give me like an analog fucking deck of cards like that. I can, So anyway, Shaolin Showdown, Shogun Showdown, is a turn-based roguelite. I think that's the correct term.
Yeah, you know what? Who gives a shit? Nerds care.
But it's basically I played it on stream a little bit earlier in the week too, last time. You hop around, and every action you do takes a turn, and you queue up to 3 actions, and you fight a bunch of enemies that are about to do their actions to you. And hey, guess what? Into the Breach style, perfect sequence puzzling, etc. Incredibly fun, so fun, really really cool. The like ancient Japan style setup going on, and then you realize that it is a game that is secretly, and not secretly, but like you start seeing characters like Hideyoshi and Ieyasu and things like that.
Hey,
You're
wait
like,
a second.
what
I
are
know
these
those guys.
names? You're like, Nobunagas Rise Up. It's a Nobunaga game. And
I don't like that term.
yeah, well, there it is, but for the most part, like, it's really satisfying when you kind of learn to put these moves together where you're like, okay, I have a character who you can pick, like there's like a samurai, a ninja, like these different classes. One that you unlock that's a really good example of like what would sell me on this is like the judoka, right, or jujitsuka rather, which is a character that like you have like 5 tiles that you're kind of hopping back and forth on, and enemies are about to plan their next attack and slam at you, shoot at you, come at you, do whatever. And what this character can do is grab you and flip you around and flip enemies around and reposition
I love
them
that guy.
to attack each other and make people point in the wrong direction, and then like shove them away and make them collide into each other.
Yeah, I love that guy in Into the Breach.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So repositioning the enemies as a means of defense, is always super fun. And then while you're doing this type of stuff with the game, you have other characters that can like pass through or slide around and stuff. you're also randomly picking up abilities and weapons and such that can attack in different directions, different amounts of tiles. And then you can upgrade them for awesome like passive things, you know. So you can have like let's say you have a ball and chain where like it hits 3 tiles in front of you, and if it connects with something, it bounces back behind you by 1 tile and hits anything behind you. You can apply like a double attack to that to make it happen twice, and then it poisons anything it hits too. And you know, and you can basically balance the amount of upgrades that you put on these weapons while also affecting how many turns it takes for them to cool down and use them again, you know. So you basically get this really precise setup going, and it gets really deep, and it feels really advanced too as well, because later on you're able to do things like play a card that teleports you to it mirrors your position on the map. So you have to like do some mental calculation to be like, I will appear exactly here, then I will grab this person and like toss them behind me, and then throw a kunai in front of me, right? And like you'll put that all into sequence and make it so that one chain reaction leads to another, so that you're hitting an enemy into the kunai that you threw while teleporting, and you know, and you're putting together all the trajectory, and it's really, really satisfying and fun when it works out.
You know, Wooly, it's funny because like I went to the Steam page and I'm watching it and I'm like, this is 2D Shogun Into the Breach. No shit, you love this thing. And then I scroll down, it goes overwhelmingly positive, always a good sign. Then it sees one friend of yours already owns this game, being you, Wooly. And then above it, it says, it's like other shit you've played, like Balatro, okay, and Midnight Suns. And I'm just like, yeah, it is kind of a lot like Midnight Suns, actually. You should probably give that game a shot.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually, like,
is that
Midnight Suns is the same thing, just on like a 3D grid.
Okay. Is it also listing similar to XCOM at all?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so I mean, what I will say is that like anything that gives perfect information from the enemy becomes a puzzle game and becomes way more fun to me, like or when the behavior is something that you know what it's going to be and you have to like efficiently solve by moving and weaving and such, you know. Fights in tight spaces, another game that I loved, and all these things. Like now, you know, not all of them are the same level of quality, and I know that like Fights in tight spaces didn't land with everybody. Into the Breach certainly was one of the best examples of it. This one, really, really good, honestly. Great sense of progression. Every time you do a run, you go through a day, and like by going through the day and like doing it, like let's say you do it like without getting hit, let's say you do it like fast enough or in minimal amounts of turns, you unlock tons of stuff each run, you know, and you get enough permanent upgrades to take back to unlock a bunch of different weapon types and passives, and you know, and things that diversify your run. So like very quickly you're able to like, you start with one character, one run type, and like within 5 or 6 different runs you're unlocking tons of different options and ways to play the game, you know. So yeah, if you're at all into like this type of genre, you know, turn-based like tactical fighting, and you know, and in this case it's like samurai themed and got these little cute characters jumping around and stuff. Yeah, highly recommended.
So Wooly, I did not talk about this a week or two ago, or maybe I did I ever talk about a game called Tactical Breach Wizards?
No.
Okay, so Tactical Breach Wizards is also overwhelmingly positive on Steam, and is literally another one of the types of games that you described.
Okay.
It is set in a setting in which you are playing what is essentially like Breach SWAT operatives, but they are wizards.
Okay.
So you are going into Breach rooms, and then your main character can see 1 second into the future. So you plan out your movements, such as knock this guy out the window or zap this dude or place a bomb, and then you click the button and it will show you how those events are going to play out because enemies have extremely strict rules, such as always attack nearest enemy, always move towards line of sight, etc. And it is absolutely that, but with a different aesthetic.
Okay.
And like a really cool hook. You should definitely check out Tactical Breach Wizards. It's fantastic.
Cool. That sounds fun. I yeah, because it's these are things that they scratch the same itch as like Slay the Spire, for example, but but like as much fun as Slay the Spire is, I love when you have like positioning and movement involved as well, not just playing the cards, you know.
I genuinely feel like ever since you've described Enter the Breach as perfect information, this is what my brain calls this genre.
Yeah,
across all different actual subgenres, it's the perfect information genre.
Well, because the moment you're just like the AI has a pattern, but you don't know what it's going to be, that just changes the entire way you play the game. It changes everything. You're not trying to do a perfect run anymore. You're trying to just minimize bad decisions and outcomes, and position yourself in a way where if they do this, you're ready for that, or if they do the X, you're ready for Y, and you approach games very, very differently, predicting and guessing versus going like, no, that's going to go that way. That's why you have to counter it this way.
It reminds me of the way that people talk about, not XCOM, Fire Emblem, in that there's the way that I play Fire Emblem and probably the way you play Fire Emblem and the way that people who have played 10 Fire Emblems play Fire Emblem, in which to them, they actually know the intrinsic mentality of every type of unit. And they know that if an archer will always move 6 fucking paces to this, and they're playing a completely different fucking game than you or I are.
Yeah, when the rules are, you can learn them, but they're not immediately obvious. Yeah, 100%.
They're not told; they're just there.
And of course, what makes it really interesting is like bosses have more complex patterns, or they can stack things in a way that you usually can't. Most normal enemies can't, and you'll have these moments where you'll see a boss will stack 3 cards, right? 3 actions, and one will be mirror your position on the map. Then the next one will be dash backwards until you connect with an enemy, and then appear on the other side of them, and then it'll be do an uppercut. And so you have to you have to take a second and go, all right, he's going to flip positions with me, then come flying at me, then go through me and punch me back this way, meaning I'm gonna hit this guy, so I need to flip this way and and like put the right shield in the right place, and like every time you like hop a tile or flip around or select an action, that all takes a turn. So the
selecting an action
takes a turn. Yeah.
Ugh.
Right. Preparing an action takes a turn. So you have to really, you have to be very, very ready and do a lot of calculation before you even preview what you're about to do. And yes, when you it does turn-based Katana Zero almost just feels like a really a great way to describe it too.
That's
because
not fair.
You're doing really rad Katana Zero shit.
Fair.
You are
That's
doing
high. That's high praise to throw at something.
I mean, I found when you play these games too, and when you get like a busted build, you just go like, fuck, I'm never getting this one again.
You're like, I think I fucked this shit up. I think I fucked it.
Yep. So I found I had found one of those that kind of locked me in, which was you unlock kunai, and what kunai does is most weapons, if you power them up, you put the number from let's say 3 damage to 4, and then it'll just do that much more, and that'll be it. With kunai, the number increasing means you throw more out, right? And so instead of being like one hit that does 4 damage, you'll throw 4 kunai out, and if something dies in 2, then the next 2 kunai are going to whatever was behind it. So you just So I'm like, oh fuck, let's take that. Let's stack that with Curse, which doubles the damage. Let's make it so that if I only select one action, I get an extra amount of damage on it. So therefore now I'm doing 3 per shot. And let's put this number to 8 shots if possible. And then teleport to one side of the map and then just shoot everything in a line and clear the entire row. And then finally, if I kill 3 things, it resets the cooldown immediately. So you're like, all right, I just busted the whole thing open, and I'm like, sick. Cleared a build, cleared a round with that, and now that's one strat. That's like high card meta. It's one type of build you can go back to. So yeah, little things like that, and seeing how you get a new weapon and how to think about little strats like that and break it open are tons of fun. Shogun Showdown, big praise.
That sounds great.
And then beyond that, I played a little bit of another game called this was in the recording the week prior. I Am Your Beast.
Yeah, I Am Your Beast fucking rules.
Pretty cool. So what was the game that team made before?
El Paso Elsewhere.
Right. Actually, so this I actually Sir Meow was like, hey, I got a friend that made this game, check it out.
Yeah, that's what happened with me. Yeah.
So took a look, and absolutely super sick. I want to say super hot and cyber, not cyber, Ghost Runner style vibes.
I would describe these games as existing genre plus Duchovnying.
Okay.
Like the main character is David Duchovny at you the whole time.
Oh, okay. His monologuing. Yes. Okay. Sure. Reluctant Solid Snake getting pulled back in for one more job.
It's great.
And then John Wicking as well is the action. And then it's also the type of game where you you take out everybody, kill everyone as fast as possible.
Now
and
again,
do it faster, do it better.
Now do the challenge.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, knock somebody out, grab the gun in midair, super hot.
Kill the entire level with bees.
John Wick your way through this. And then every time he does, there's like a smug piece of like monologue and dialogue, that you go through from level to level. Very, very fun. Very, very cool setup. Definitely more narratively strong than like gameplay. There's a little bit of jank in kind of some of the shooting and a little bit of the...
Mind that it's like it's so fast that I have difficulty controlling it. Like they want it real fast and loose.
Were you mouse and keyboarding?
I did both. I actually found it easier on a gamepad.
Okay. You definitely fly through it, and yeah, there's no super hot style like stop time to think type moments. But it still works really well, but it definitely also feels that like the enemies are like they're kind of behaving like just
they're moves, dude. They're fucking dumbasses.
Yeah, it's Muso. They're sliding little meat, combo dummies to be styled on. But very cool, and like narratively I'm interested to find out like where that's going and what the setup is, but it seems to be taking place in the Northwest, right? You're in the Pine Tree Woods, and you're Man,
everything's in my neck of the woods nowadays. I move out here, and every goddamn video game is like 100 miles from my house. It's nice out here.
Yeah, and it's the living in a cabin, retired super soldier fantasy, but now they need you for one more job. And you're like, leave me alone.
I do love that. It's like, you told me one more job like
10 more jobs ago. Yeah. And people are going to keep dying until you leave me alone. So, that's the bit. Strong title for a game too. I Am Your Beast is pretty cool.
Oh, it's great.
Love that.
De facto recommendation by this podcast on the name alone.
Great voice acting as well. El Paso Elsewhere I also had.
Great. El Paso Elsewhere is, hey, did you enjoy the first 2 Max Payne games but wanted more weird nonsense monologuing? Here you go. Again,
the only bit I'll say is that when I think about Ghost Runner, when I think about Ultra Kill, and Super Hot and other first person styling fucking games, the enemies are not as just goofy meatwad.
Yeah.
They kind of do a bit more.
I think El Paso Elsewhere was a little stronger, to be honest, because that genre lends itself better to just meathead dumbass enemies.
Okay. Yeah, good music too. Oh, amazing music in Shogun Showdown, by the way. Really, really catchy. And then one other game that's not out yet, but there's a demo available just as a proof of concept, and it's a concept that I certainly wanted some proof on. Take a tactical, isometric grid. Put a robot on that shit. So, imagine your front mission style, like, grid robot, and your action is simultaneous to another robot, and you're creating Yomi Hustle style turn-based movement and fighting. It's called Mecha Simul Tactics, which is
I like that.
Everything that you need to know is in the title right there. Yeah, you and your opponent move at the same time, and you choose between, slashing, stabbing, parrying, dodging, grabbing, beaming, imagine anything that like Jehuti could do in Zone of the Enders type of thing. You can charge up a giant ball and toss it. You can teleport, zero shift, you can pepper with missiles, and all of it is you'll be happy to know that when the round is done, it plays out smoothly.
Oh, fucking thank God. Damn it.
And you get to watch the whole fight unfold in real time after it's done, and it looks great.
That's great.
Yeah, so right now, again, alpha, so you've got the one character, and you've got the one robot that you can kind of change the colors on. You can just jump online and kind of, do matches with like 1v1 or like groups or so. But like just deciding and playing around people's other decisions and all that shit that I loved about Yomi Hustle, super present here as well. Grabbing, like doing a jab, grabbing someone, tossing them, teleporting behind them to try to continue the combo, but I teleported too close, so then we both get knocked over onto the ground, or you're dashing in at me, I'm shooting missiles, I'm covering a couple spaces, so then you have to like dodge to the side to get in, close the distance, and all that real fun stuff, and you do it all. And what worked too as well on the video that's going to come out on Wooly Versus is we played a round with like 5 people all in one room, just simultaneously fighting, and it works.
That's great.
So imagine a Yomi Hustle with mechs in an isometric view, and you can do as more people, you can play like multiplayer, free for all and stuff. Really, really cool. Mecha Simul Tactics is the name of that game. Yeah, that's
What's the stream schedule look like for Wooly Versus this week?
Nothing to announce until later dates.
That sounds wise.
Yeah, because as much as we can do a short thing like this, I cannot do a full streaming day. Furthermore, this chair is a lot better to sit on than that one.
Oh yeah, dude, for real.
So I will let y'all know. But we'll see what's going on beyond that. Though, is I don't know if you heard, but over here in Eastern Canada, there is a daylight saving survey, and you can go and vote on your preferred daylight savings outcome, because they're thinking of getting rid of it if enough people want to get rid of it, and you can choose, if we do get rid of it, which calendar to stick with, -4 or -5.
So we had that in BC apparently, and it was overwhelmingly get rid of that shit. And then they were like, okay, we're gonna get rid of that shit, but the US government is also doing a thing to get rid of that shit. And so that'll go through this year, and then when they go through, we'll get rid of that, because you don't want to fuck up, like, and then even though everyone in the US hates it also, it just didn't go through at all. So it just fucking didn't happen.
Damn. Okay.
And it just got cock blocked.
So what's weird is that, like, not only is it like yes or no, but it's like, if yes, do you want a permanently later sunset or permanently earlier
I feel
sunrise?
like the federal government should handle that, so that it doesn't get super weird traveling from Quebec to Ontario or Alberta to BC.
Imagine being in the same time zone, but the moment you cross a border, it changes. That would get really weird.
Fuck it. No more time zones anymore. Sundown in your own town is whatever the fuck time it is.
I'd rather if your town
Fuck
didn't
it.
sundown, to be perfectly honest. But
You.
yeah, but no. I as somebody who I actually I like nighttime. I'm a nocturnal person. I get my I do my best work and thinking and chilling and whatnot when it's nighttime.
You're almost exclusively alive during the nighttime hours.
Yeah, but I understand that most people will enjoy and benefit more from more daylight. So based on that,
you know who prefers daylight hours?
Punch Bomb does.
Babies.
Babies do too. Interesting.
That decision is out of our hands.
I see.
Fucking goo goo gaga. Time to wake up.
Well, I'm going to, you know, Punch Bomb is like daylight. She thrives during sunlight, and I'm like, okay, most people do as well. Normal human beings enjoy. Normal humans enjoy having a nice long day and having a lot of brightness and sunshine. So I'm going to vote in favor of that, even though I'm like, more night wouldn't be that bad. Like, I personally, I don't mind at all, but I can adjust. If you make the night start later, then I'll just stay up later and it'll just keep moving forward. I'll find a way to crawl into the shadows and you know. Yeah.
You know what I did? I just suffered from horrible sleep deprivation and then drank so much caffeine I almost went blind, and it fixed it right up like that.
Okay. There you go. That's one way. But yeah, you know, I will say this, that if you do live in Quebec and you can hear this, then make sure to go to that survey and fill it out and vote on which daylight savings outcome you would like to happen.
I think everyone would prefer literally any change from the status quo whatsoever on daylight savings.
Because
I don't care which one you fuckers pick. Just make me stop changing. Wooly, I got so fucking confused. It was Sunday. And me and Paige were looking at our toaster, and our toaster said 7 o'clock, but all our other devices said 6 o'clock. And we're like, did daylight savings just happen? What happened? And I went on fucking Blue Sky. I was like, did it happen? And everyone's like, it happened last night, dumbass. And I'm like, I didn't even know.
I still like, you know, gaining an hour. I hate losing it. So but it's always a surprise, and it's always just like what, when, how, what. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see. They're going to decide by December 1st, I think, is the final date on that. Anyway, whatever. That's that.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. I am chilling until further notice.
That's great, dude. Just chill the fuck out and relax. You deserve it. You know, did you notice that once we started like this, that breaks and time off were like, I fucked my leg up, or I'm sick, instead of, hey, why don't we plan a thing? We'll do it. It's like, I can't work. I can't.
Yeah, physical injury. Like, you know, it's look, I remember when esports teams were like, hey, we have a regimen where you have to get up in the morning and run and exercise and do all this shit. And it's like,
yeah, I remember that.
You know what? That makes perfect fucking sense, that you would be treated the same as any other athlete, because you're sitting on a fucking chair, you know?
Yeah, man, you sedentary.
So, yeah.
All right,
how about you?
What's up with me? All right. So today is a big historic day. November 5th is, as we all know, Elmo the cat's 16th birthday.
Happy birthday, Elmo.
Elmo is old as shit, and he looks like trash, but I love him, and I brush him, and he smells, and he's the best. I'm wondering, he's in that time period of a cat. Don't know if he's just like senile or stupid. You know, like,
isn't the answer just yes?
Yeah, the answer might be yes. It might be yes. In other news, it took a little bit, but Zangief is home in his box that he will be living in now. I originally intended to put him there on a little table over my shoulder, and realized that that would be a massive fucking downer forever. And so now he hangs out in the living room, facing the TV.
Okay.
He's got a little picture in front of him, and he's got his tire. So
What's his tire?
His favorite toy was a rubber tire.
Okay.
Like about this big. It's a Kong tire. So that's that.
Glad he's home.
Moving on. As for culture this week, Paige and I ran the gamut of quality on the show this week. We played so Supermassive. They made Until Dawn. They made The Quarry. They made those other games, and those varied in quality a little bit, huh? Well, we played The Casting of Frank Stone, a game that we thought would be really cool because it is about Dead by Daylight, and it's about the the backstory of like what's going on in the Dead by Daylight universe, and maybe the creation of a new killer. And I'm thinking that maybe it was a bad sign that this narrative experience about the creation of a new Dead by Daylight killer might not have been the best, considering that killer was never added to Dead by Daylight.
Okay, hold on. So Supermassive took on an original game set in the Dead by Daylight world.
That's right.
With the original Dead by Daylight monsters. But
no, just Frank Stone.
As a means to set up a new character that's supposed to.
Maybe that's why, but it takes place in the Dead by Daylight universe, and the only monster is Frank Stone. And would you believe it? We played it for 3.5 hours and didn't see him, and nothing happened, and nothing occurred. Nothing occurred for 150% of the runtime of Jurassic Park. Literally, actually nothing.
Now,
we were over half the game's runtime.
Sometimes nothing occurring can be interesting if characters are interesting.
I mean nothing.
Nothing.
I mean actually nothing.
Wow.
Like, there are people in the chat that can vouch for me when I say actually nothing. I mean actually nothing occurs for over 3.5 hours. And then we gave up on it, and I was like, I'm gonna watch a guy's YouTube video where he flies through it. And then I found out it would have been like another hour of nothing before something happened.
Okay, so you are now in position to tell me, what is the batting average on Supermassive at this point?
Bad.
All right.
Bad.
Not counting. Let me see here, because I see there's a bunch of little Big Planet and Killzone stuff. But in terms of the Until Dawn post,
Dawn, thumbs up.
Okay. Hidden.
Incredible. One of the best. Until Dawn remake. Whoa, bad. Don't look at it. Just play the old one.
Okay. Hidden Agenda.
Mid.
The Inpatient.
Don't even know what that is.
Okay. The Dark Pictures Anthology.
Which one?
Yeah, so I guess it matters, right?
Man of Medan.
Man of Medan. Little Hope.
Terrible.
House of Ashes.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, weird.
Devil in Me.
Bad.
And then Frank Stone.
No. Then there's The Quarry. Which I would call north of mid.
Okay.
I would call like mid.
And now Frank Stone, just
abjectly horrible.
So trending towards mid with some real bad dips,
and one really good one in there. House of Ashes is really great.
Better than original Until
Until
Dawn?
Dawn?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
absolutely
Okay.
not.
Okay.
No way. But
Why does this mirror Telltale so well?
all of them were written by different people. And I believe they were all developed under different circumstances with different budgets and different leads.
Man, okay. Because I'm just like, yeah, we're still talking about Walking Dead season 1.
Yeah.
Wolf Among Us and Batman, were fun. And then there's the others.
We were talking about this when we were doing Frank Stone, and I'm like, I think that the narrative choose your own adventure genre has way more misses than hits. Like way more. Because and we were sitting there like that first season of Walking Dead, and Wooly told me that Batman one was really good, and Borderlands was really good.
Borderlands, yep.
And then Until Dawn, and maybe The Quarry, depending on your taste, and House of Ashes, and like that's it for like the whole fucking catalog.
Yeah. And like I don't know anyone that can speak to what's going on with fucking the other one there. Don't Nod.
Yeah.
But like I have room in my heart for some hella teen adventures in season 1 Life is Strange, and I don't know that any of the subsequent entries meant anything.
I did not
to
see
anybody.
anyone care about the later ones like they did the first one.
Okay, yeah, no, I have not heard anything good about
That's
any
like
of
on
the
the
others.
outside.
And the first one is divisive enough because there's a bunch of people that are also like, man, fuck that shit anyways.
Yeah.
On the strength.
It really feels like a genre that people like nail, like they come out swinging and they're like, yeah, we got these ideas, and they're great, and then they're like, well, that was our idea. We're done now.
Well, at the same time, I guess because it's such a narrative experience, it really is all in the directing and writing. It's like films and movies and in books, and like it's who's in charge of this. If it's a different person every time, then yeah, that'll be the most determining factor, I suppose.
So hey, you want to hear the most fun part about casting a Frank Stone? The most fun part. So Frank Stone, it was, what do you call it? It was 3.5 hours of nothing. And on top of that, it is a 6-hour game. And on top of that, it's full price. It's full price.
They all are, right? Because they're like
no.
Oh, the anthology ones are smaller and shorter. And,
yeah.
Cheaper. Okay.
The anthology ones came out like the whole thing was like a season pass.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. No, casting Frank Stone is my mistake. It's $40 US. It's not full price. It's just horribly overpriced. I was looking at it in Canada dollars.
I mean, I feel like anytime a game is attempting photorealism,
yeah,
you're gonna get it leaning in that direction.
So, in the context of us going like, God damn, Frank Stone was a pile of shit, we decided to check out a different game. Instead of finishing it, we instead streamed a different game called, you know what? Hold on a second.
Huh. You called an audible. Okay.
We played a game called Mouthwashing.
Ah, yes.
A game called Mouthwashing, which is like $10, is nearly perfectly 2.5 hours long. It is a cinematic narrative, visual novel, first person adventure kind of game. And I put the chat, for those of you at home listening to the audio, I just put chat in emote mode. If you have not heard about Mouthwashing and you like narrative experiences and horror, I would tell you to go buy and play Mouthwashing. And if you can do this, don't even look at the Steam page for Mouthwashing. Just shut up. Don't talk to anyone. Don't look at anything, and go play Mouthwashing right now. Wooly, to you, as somebody who does some streaming on occasion, I would highly recommend that you, when you are well, throw a single stream of mouthwashing on there because you can blow through that no problem in 2.5 hours. And that is an A+ experience.
Okay. You know, the funny part is what you just said and how you recommended that. I got that energy because I saw you streaming it and I saw a bunch of other people also playing it on
Bam.
right?
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. And then I was like, what is this? What a weird name. And then I went
It's
to
a very strange name.
and then I went to the account and I looked and I saw like about 8 seconds of the trailer and some really wild, interesting transitions of horror transitions happened. And I went, actually, I'm done. I saw one really good transition occur and I said, I'm interested and I'm not going to look at the rest.
Yes.
That's
that is my discussion on the content of mouthwashing.
Okay.
Is that you should go play mouthwashing.
Mhm.
If you can hear the sound of my voice, you should go play mouthwashing.
And it was released in time for Halloween, was it?
Yes.
Okay.
It was.
Cool.
Highly recommended.
Nice. That reminds me, something fun. Or rather, I'm sure the Halloween vibes are, you know, different everywhere and for different people. I've always had these stories about, like, you know, watching as, you know, from church house, you can't go celebrate the Devil's Night. You can't go celebrate that. No. And so as a result, it's kind of always been not the most important holiday to me because it was just one thing. It just meant like, oh, dress up parties in college. And then that was kind of the only time it really mattered. But something cool that I've noticed and kind of just saw was that, like, there's some areas of the city where instead of doing the street as like where people go and trick-or-treat and stuff, they'll make like an alleyway into like a lit up kind of almost like, imagine like a Christmas hallway, but it's a Halloween lit up hallway.
Oh, that's cool.
And everyone is hanging out in the alleyway of the backyard.
That sounds like a great place to do drugs.
So it's actually where everyone is, all the kids are running around and having fun, and it's lit, and it's a festival street thing happening in the alleyways. It's really cool. It's the first time I've ever seen anything like that, and it's incredibly safe and well set up.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and like some people even have like little things for kids to like crawl through, like a giant pumpkin and stuff, and it's real fun stuff. So like, big A+ on alleyway Halloween setups. Dope shit.
Cool.
I would care a lot more if I was. If I had a past, because I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, look, there's parents taking their kids out and going and doing this thing. I'm like, right, of course you'd have this tradition and care about it more if you had these positive memories of that, as opposed to staring out the window at kids walking around doing that and being like,
yeah.
Well, God says no.
Halloween memories. Now, listen, it's a little late this year for this warning, but if you had no children, if you are a child or you have children, be careful, because every year, dastardly people, sneak licorice into the candy bowls, and you need to be careful of that fucking shit poison ending up in children's hands.
Did you know that the original case was there was one parent who snuck licorice into their own kids' bags?
Yeah, I know.
And that's how the hysteria started?
Yeah, I do know that, actually, yeah. It's like, hey, this is candy. Wait, this tastes like shit. I guess candy's bad.
Warning.
Tricked them. All right, let's see. Let's keep it going. We got to keep it brisk. I also played I'm playing the Horizon remaster on PC. It has a couple little tiny issues.
You're allowed, or were you?
I'm allowed?
you no, whatever. No, after
right over my head, right over.
Did you prove that you owned it on PlayStation first?
So here's the funny thing: I turned it on and it said, "Thanks for being part of the PlayStation family. Do you want to sign in and we'll give you another thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, wait a second. When you log in on like Helldivers or Tsushima or whatever, it links your fucking Steam account. Like you don't even need to do that again." They just want it linked in at all.
My my Steam account was created by PSN way back in the day.
So you would never be asked to do it.
Yeah, I didn't actually sign up from Steam independently. It was an auto-generated thing. Huh. Odd.
Still stupid as shit. Still dumb as fuck. Yeah, the Horizon Master looks really nice, and in playing it, I'm like, wow, I'm having a really good time playing Horizon Zero Dawn. It is a shame that these games get fucking just booted out of your fucking mind every single fucking time. This time it came out alongside the fact that I don't give a shit about the new Dragon Age, so it did not get booted out of my brain when it came out, and I'm like, oh, these are really pretty good.
Here, let me just do something. Actually, let me. Now it's my turn to silence the people. You've played it, but have you beaten the other one originally, or
I have not?
Okay. Do you know anything about like the setting? And
I do.
Is the twist good?
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, because I'm just
the twist is decent. But the twist, the level of spite in the twist actually makes it taste nice.
Okay. Because I guess for all the discussion there is about Horizon, I feel like, we talk about like its release and what it's next to, and then the game, and then Alloy and all this stuff. But I kind of always have this thing where I'm like, the game is released with this setting that is it's a mystery, and it's these fucking robot animals, and we don't know anything about what or why.
It's a very interesting setting to inhabit.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I feel like it's been years since anything discussion related has come up about like, what is this world and why is it like this?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, is that secret something compelling?
Like it's probably a little bit what anyone would expect.
Okay. All right.
But I'm going to call it the sub twist, or the personal angle to the narrative, has a real good spite to it.
Okay.
That gives it a little kick.
Okay.
And you putting this into emote mode is great, because if you didn't, the chat would be full of fuck under like blank.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. All right. End of discussion. I'm sure I'll discover some at some point, but I just, no one ever discusses that part. So it's just like, there's a huge mystery here. What's the deal?
There's only one real discussion, which is, oh, what was it? And then like, oh, fuck that.
Okay. Got it. All right, cool. End of Horizon spoiler discussion.
All right. So that's nice. And it runs real well, but it does have a little bit of a memory leak, I think. But they're patching it, so it's probably going to do well. Like performance-wise. You know what's not doing well performance-wise? Did you hop on that Monster Hunter Wilds beta over the weekend?
No.
Holy shit! That game runs like garbage. Holy fuck!
Okay, all I saw was Max tweeting about how the game has no hit stop, and that makes it feel less fun and less good when you hit things.
So there are two discussions to be had here. There's the discussion that a lot of people are going to skip because they're insane people like Max or myself who are running high-end computers with 4090s in them, and so it doesn't matter what the fuck the game runs like, right? However, everyone else playing the beta, if you were playing it on console, it runs exactly like you would expect a Monster Hunter game to run, which is kind of bad but fine, right? So 40 to 60 maybe, kind of thing. If you were playing it on the personal computer, well, the system requirements are completely ridiculous. It asks that you use something called frame generation to bump up the frame rate, which is ridiculous because that adds a lot of input lag. People were running into catastrophic bugs. So there were lots of crashes, but the second one, and here's my favorite one, the second one is the game was not attributing RAM correctly to your video card. So it was loading in every single model as the furthest away LOD version of the model. So we're talking characters or monsters that are like
Garbage.
5 triangles.
Oh no. Is this running
You
on Reach for the Moon?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
I will probably try and find a fucking photo or some video to show you so you really get a good feel of what I'm talking about here. Run incredibly poorly. Just
now
even
is running poorly not part of the Monster Hunter legacy?
So yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no.
Okay.
So depending, World ran like shit. Rise and Sunbreak ran incredible. It looks like Wilds is gonna run like shit. Like bad enough that I may just grab it on the console because it runs like shit. Hopefully it was a beta.
Okay.
So hopefully it's a little bit better.
Okay.
But just crazy god awful.
I have to say that lack of hit stop, while it might seem minor, is the kind of thing that is partially responsible for why I don't like MMOs. So to me, impact and hit stop are huge and mean a lot. And when I see a video side by side of like swinging at a thing and the thing doesn't react or care at all that you've hit it, does that make me not feel like it just so like it's a very specific complaint, but I get it, man, especially if it used to have it.
When I think there was a fucking world beta or demo at some point that had the exact same hit stop problems.
Okay.
And every single person went, "You need to tone that shit back the fuck up. We need chunky hits."
Yeah.
And then they did that. Yeah. So I would assume they'll listen to people about that kind of thing again. I'm not too worried about it. I am now sending you a video of what Monster Hunter Wilds look like on some people's fucking computer.
Okay.
I would describe the technical state of this beta as disastrous.
Didn't I only play 2 sessions of World or something? I beat that looks that looks pretty bad. Oh no. Wow. Okay. Oh god, yeah. All right. Let me stick this one in the show notes. Yeesh. Okay.
Yeah, crazy. So
I beat the world story mode.
Main story
mode.
So aside from its disastrous technical state, which the devs have said it is an old version of the game, it's in a better state now, yada yada, but also it's still very worrying for a release that's in a couple of months. Hopefully they really work on optimization quite a bit. Aside from that, what's actually in the Monster Hunter Wilds beta is crazy. It's so good. It is so hot. It is shit hot. The trajectory towards character action game but monsters continues.
Okay.
So right off the bat, your Palico talks human English words.
Huh.
Second of all, your hunter talks human English words. Your hunter is a character.
The Palico's subtitles were always English, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but they would just make noises.
But now they speak,
okay.
And your character speaks. Your hunter also is a character. They're not a completely blank slate anymore. They are a speaking, acting character. You have little dialogue trees when you talk to NPCs and ask them questions. They act in cutscenes. And of particular note to me, in the game's opening cutscene, your monster hunter hit a monster with a weapon, which is the first time ever. They always roll around and ignore it. They smacked a fucking monster with a greatsword, and I'm like, thank you. They also have did you play Rise at all, even once?
Yes, I did.
So they had the Palamutes there, where you would ride around on the little doggy, right?
Those are cool.
So now they have secrets, which are not chocobos. They're blue. They're definitely not a chocobo.
I saw the birds. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a bird mount you hop on, and the bird mount is there. You hop on the bird mount, and it will just chase whatever fucking monster you're after automatically. And as you are on the bird mount, you can use your slinger to grab any material you see in your vicinity. It is essentially your auto-driving car.
Okay, so
you're not to fight on it. It is transit.
Right. Okay. Worlds introduced the flies, the tracking flies,
yes,
right?
Which was horrible.
Okay, and so this is kind of like another streamlining that process, just make it about the fight. Okay.
People asking, can you manually control it? Yes. The biggest deal though for the bird is that the bird is part of a larger structural change. You're not going to be going back to base camp and doing all of your shit in base camp and then, going on an expedition to the stage. Now the base camp is inside the stage. So your massive base camp that has the blacksmith, that has your camp, that has all your items and your item box and all that shit out in the stage itself. And when you are going to get quests, the way that you get monster quests is by hopping on your bird and running around and seeing a monster. And when you see a monster, it goes, here's a capture quest or an attack quest for this monster. Your handler, the girl with the glasses, Alma, she just follows you.
She looks cool.
Around. Yeah, she looks really cool, but she follows you. So when you are done fighting a monster and you want to start a new quest, she is literally standing right next to you.
Oh, wow.
So you can go, I would like to start a new quest.
In the world, okay.
Yeah, and so the basic thing is that you are just in the stage for extremely long periods of time. When you start a new quest and you'd be like, well, where do I get my supply items? The free items you would get at a quest. They're in Sacred's bag. So they spawn in on the bird.
So I feel like World started that idea a bit with some of there's that later map where it was 3 different areas all connected in one, and you could kind of hunt something and then just run around and begin another hunt.
Yeah, that was called
organically. Expeditions, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This is just like a very large expansion of that. But the biggest, most importantest part of the bird is that the bird keeps a second weapon in their pack. So if you hop on the bird and hit right on the D-pad, you will switch to your other weapon.
Oh, wow. 2 styles. Okay.
So you are to always be assumed to have 2 on you.
Nice.
Which is a big fucking change.
In the middle of the fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
This isn't working. I'm going to switch to this.
Do you, if you've made any buffs or things that are particular, do you lose those?
They would stay.
They stay? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So when you talk about how it leans harder into the action aspect, basically I'm like, so does that mean that Insect Glaive is now more attack on tightening?
Yes, it does mean that.
Okay.
So there's a couple of new mechanics that are going on that I'm not going to remember the correct names for, because they're never fucking mentioned in the thing. The only reason I remember the names of these things is because I saw a single Reddit post on them. But everybody gets new mechanics. So I typically just play Greatsword, right? If you block enough, if you block an enemy's strikes enough times, there are certain strikes with all of the blocking weapons that you will clash and engage with a struggle with the monster. So you will use your shield or your sword and be like, and knock it over.
Okay.
For a flinch. You also have, for the evasion ones like Insect Glaive and Dual Blades, you have perfect dodges. You have frame perfect dodges where you will glow blue like you're doing a fucking alpha super, and your moveset will change when that happens. You also have something called an offset slash or strike, where if you do certain moves and you time it correctly with the enemy's assault, you will blow through them and knock them on their ass.
Like
So
charged great
enemies
sword
that have that.
on...
So enemies that have that big like overhand strike.
Okay.
So great sword has a like diagonal up swing.
Yes.
If you clash those, you will win the clash, knock the enemy over in a big huge strike, and then your character will auto dash and run at them to do a new move.
Okay. So basically, the other, I'm thinking of when you charge up a greatsword horizontal swing and you time it with a monster charging at you.
Yeah, now
right.
There's a specific mechanic for blowing through them.
Right. Okay. And it has to be the right move against the right move. Okay.
On top of that, there's something called focus mode, which I didn't really understand. So you remember you could do breaks, like you could break a horn, you could break teeth, you could break the arms, right? Mm-hmm. So that's been changed to something called wounds. And so you will build up little slashes and areas of like of long-term damage all over the monster. And when you hit left trigger, you gain like a full aiming reticle that your attacks will always hit the center of that reticle. So if you want to always pop it in the face, you can force your attacks to aim it for the face. And once that area starts to glow red, you hit R1 to do a special wound break attack, which will damage that part further and always flinch.
Okay. So if you're trying to target tail, you can do so more accurately.
Yeah, you can bash on the tail and then you say, oh, the tail is red. And then you do a wound break on it and it'll do more damage to the structure as well as flinch it guaranteed.
Nice. Okay.
And this system all combines with a bunch of other ones. So like, for example, did you ever use the insect glaive for long?
Just the training.
Insect glaive had like this problem in that you had this downtime where you're like, I throw my bug out, I have red, and now my attacks are better. I throw my bug out, now I have white energy, so now my legs are better. I throw my bug out, I got orange, and so now my stamina is better. When you have all three, you turn into a better version of the insect glaive, right? But there was always that downtime that rotated every minute where you're like, oh, I'm almost out of insect juice, better start pinging him, but then the enemy can move and it's a little annoying. The wound break move for insect glaive is you slash the enemy, jump back, and throw the bug so hard it gets all three insect glaive juices and brings it back to you immediately.
Wow. Okay. Nice. So it's style specific or weapon specific buffs or benefits.
Yeah, so the great sword one, like you'll slash the wound and then you'll drag the sword the entire length of the monster.
Cool. When you're describing the shield clash moments there, or defensive clash, so like would that replace charge blade, for example, when you put it into shield mode and you lock down and do the super block, would that replace that perfect guard?
No, what's happening is when you are doing those blocks, you are building up an invisible meter, like the mount meter.
Oh,
so when like jumping attacks would cause like an invisible mounting meter to build up.
Yes, okay.
Like this, but it's a clash meter.
Gotcha.
So I could go on and on about all the different weapons and all the things they have, but just a quick couple. If you perfectly time a lance hit, they auto hit back with the shield, and then there's a counter. The greatsword can now use focus mode to turn any greatsword attack 180 degrees from where they started, just in the middle of the swing. The bow no longer uses ammunition and instead has you marking enemies to shoot homing missiles at them. Just all sorts of zany shit. Some of it's like directly from Dragon's Dogma.
Would these mechanic expansions go hand in hand with difficulty increasing?
Probably. Okay. Usually it does.
Okay.
Like the charge blade is now so complex that I loaded it up and I couldn't figure it out.
Because it has
it has charging the shield, it has charging the sword, and now it also has charging the axe separately.
The axe has its own bit. Nice,
and the only way to charge the axe is to do a wound break attack. And the wound break attack is you fucking jam the charge blade into the monster's weak spot, and the fucking buzz saw goes off.
Mm-hmm. And does this all build to a charged, amplified, super god, super fucking discharge?
Yes, it does.
That thing is so fucking sick.
So the game itself seems like it's, oh man, this is definitely, like, I prefer the heavier Monster Hunter games than the hyper ones.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer For You and Worlds to Generations and Rise. But I just hope it runs a little better, because it's fucking bad. Though if you're playing on a high-end PC and you can play it, and your friends are on console, this version does have cross-play, so you'll be able to play with whoever, whenever.
Betas have changed significantly to Final in the past.
That's true, but Dragon's Dogma, which is an open world game that came out from on the same engine, did run like complete garbage. So,
okay. How's the food porn?
You're cooking your own food now. And every ingredient that you add onto your own food changes the animation.
Oh.
So, like, you're cooking like a slab of food, like a slab of meat. And if you're like, I'm going to throw mushrooms on that shit. Well, then there's mushrooms in there.
Okay. No more muscular chef.
There might be, because the open beta didn't show the home base. It only showed the away base.
But it's also not playing meat.mp4.
No, it is not playing meat.mp4.
Okay.
But yeah, no, feels incredible, amazing. But I would very much like to see them come out and be like, look, the game runs better now. I like it. I appreciate it.
Did you do any mixing and matching of gender armor?
I didn't, but I went into the system and they had a bunch of armors available. And yeah, no, it works exactly as you would expect. And they're not gendered anymore. They're just like, do you want the one that's bulkier or the one that's slimmer?
Okay.
It's per piece. It works really great.
The fashion.
That game's going to be great.
Monster fashion has never been thriving.
And easier.
More than now. Okay, cool.
That's kind of it for Pat. If you want to go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt this week on Twitch, tomorrow I'm going to be finishing that one dungeon in Metaphor. And then after that, I'll be doing a sponsored stream with some UFO 50 afterwards, and then Alan Wake, and then more Metaphor.
Yeah.
You know what? I should mention in Monster Hunter, one of the larger monsters called Ray Dow. It is, you know how monsters in that game are always based off a concept?
Okay.
They're always based off, like, this one's an airplane. This one's a Jeep, or, you know, whatever. This one's a railgun.
A B-52 bomber.
Yeah, this one is a railgun.
Okay.
And it pinches two horns on its head to fire off a bolt of electricity. And it has the regular shot, which is very scary. And then it has the really ridiculously long charged up shot that turns the screen white. But because you're in the desert, if it misses you and hits the sand, it will glass the sand so hard that you can use them as platforms to do jumping attacks.
That's pretty fun. Nice. Okay. Cool.
I also forgot to talk. I did D&D Session 0 last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to come away from it like, what am I worried about? It's D&D dorks. I'm a dork. I talk to dorks all day.
This is true.
It went well.
Okay.
But more importantly, I was worried that because of my prior history, that I was going to be the character that wants to break off from the narrative and cause problems and everybody get mad. And then that worry just evaporated because the guy sitting to my left was like, when do I get to kill something? And I was like, some people might be annoyed by that, but I am hit with a huge sense of relief that I can rely on this guy to be causing encounter issues rather than myself.
So, true neutral is what you are then?
I guess so.
I see. Anyway, a proper DM can account for all kinds, right?
We'll see. We'll see how many times my paladin friend is magically restrained from interacting in certain encounters.
Sure, sure.
What do we got for news this week?
Teleporting spell brings you back to the party. Oh, look. your side quest has suddenly ended.
Yeah.
Before that, let's take a quick word from our sponsors.
Let's do it.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Raycon.
I love you, Raycon.
We're talking premium audio headphones, y'all. You, of course, you are somebody who knows. If you haven't heard us talk about wires and how bad they can be and the awfulness of wires, then you already know the deal. Get them out of your life. You need to get yourself into wireless. And in particular, you want to get yourself in on Raycons with the everyday earbuds. They can, you can appreciate a hands-free wireless life, walk around, 32 hours of battery life, multi-point connectivity, so you can connect to 2 devices at once, and all of that at a price that does not break the bank like other premium audio brands do, while still maintaining the quality.
Wooly, I'm going to tell you, as a man that has an over 1-year-old little baby, I have discovered that a life with wires is non-viable.
Nope, can't do it.
Because baby see wire, baby goes, yeah!
No longer an option. Wireless now mandatory. Of course, these are also, you can take your calls with them as well. I know that they've been great for Punch Mom, who's regularly using them, and for my workouts especially, they stick right in. You can move around, you can work up a sweat, and don't worry about them falling out with their active fit. And they've also got active noise cancellation, so you don't have to worry about the noise on a long flight, whatever else might be going on. Although, if it's your own kid, you probably want to be able to hear what's going on.
I mean, listen, if you're going to blow your back out working out, you shouldn't have to also worry about high-quality headphones.
Well, bending down to pick up the headphones if they fall out of your ears while your back is blown out would really suck.
Yeah, but they're going to stay nuzzled right in, safe and sound.
That's what's important. So, they're starting at just half the price as of the other guys. So, you want to get in. And they've got a deal where you've got Black Friday and Cyber Monday coming up where you can get up to 30% off site-wide. So, if you want to save big on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, go to buyraycon.com/superbeast today to get up to 30% off site-wide. That's right, up to 30% off on everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/superbeast. Thank you, Raycon.
Thanks, Raycon.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by ExpressVPN.
Oh, ExpressVPN, I love hearing from you.
Yeah. Going online without ExpressVPN is like forgetting to mute yourself during a Zoom meeting. Do you really want your coworkers to hear you trash talking them?
Bro, I pissed on a stream once by accident.
There you go. Do you want your or flushing the toilet? Right? That's a possibility too. Insert embarrassing example.
There was that guy there was that serial murderer that got caught because he didn't realize his microphone was still on when he went to the bathroom. You hear about that?
Literally was Robert Durst in the Jinx went to the bathroom, mic'd up, and looking to himself in the mirror after talking too much.
I killed all of them.
Of course, killed them all, I guess. Yep. You don't want that. Well, first off, you don't want to be Robert
Society
Durst.
wants that one, actually, but you don't.
We're getting lost in the sauce. Hey, listen, literally this morning today, I wanted to watch YouTube videos that I was not allowed to because I live in Canada. And
Darn.
I was like, well, that's a shame. And I opened up ExpressVPN and I hit a button. And then guess what? I was in
Guess
America
what?
and I watched what I wanted to watch, and it was not a
That's
problem.
crazy.
And then I was like, you goofy idiots. Well, I don't know why you set it this way with not being able. I don't know why I can't watch what I want to watch, but thanks to ExpressVPN, I was able to with a hit of a button, and that was it. So
You were safe while you did it.
I was safe while I did it because, yes, in addition to being able to not get locked out according to where you are, it's rerouting all of your traffic through secure encrypted servers, so your ISP cannot track your browsing history. They can't sell your data. You can't get your identity hacked by that 12-year-old on the same Wi-Fi. Don't use that dangerous Wi-Fi. But if you do find yourself using it, you definitely want to get yourself ExpressVPN as well. And yeah, you're talking about the ability to use it on all your devices, phones, laptops, and more. You can stay private on the go. It's rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. You just click one button on the app and it's ready to go. And it hides your IP address, making it extremely difficult for third parties to track your online activities. So that's the deal. Protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/superbeast. That's expressvpn.com/superbeast, and you can get an extra 3 months for free. Once again, expressvpn.com/superbeast. Thanks, ExpressVPN.
Thanks, ExpressVPN. I love you.
And this week, the podcast is sponsored by Uncommon Goods.
Uncommon Goods.
I have extolled the virtues of Uncommon Goods many a time, but in case you are unfamiliar, I'm someone who loves getting good gifts for people. I love finding a nice something that people don't know they need. It's always fun to give, and it's always fun to hit the mark with something that is like, I didn't even know that existed, but it's super useful for my hobbies. And Uncommon Goods is fantastic for that. So if you're getting ready for the holiday season or for birthdays or for anything coming up, I absolutely super duper highly recommend them. You go to the site, you check it out. They have categories for every family member, partner, whatever type you're looking for, and then sorting by hobbies, by categories, if they're into games, if they're into garden, kitchen, clothing, like literally just a broad variety.
What do you want? Here you go.
What are they looking for? And you can kind of just see all these really interesting items and things. The example I go to every time is the ability to help my wife with her finger of death when it comes to plants by getting her a self-watering, self-lighting plant system. We've taken that a step further because now that she's gotten used to that environment and can safely grow things in that way. Uncommon Goods also has things like the ability to, in a real plant you're taking care of, it's a dryness checker in the soil, so it gives you a little sign. You can just take a glance and go
cool.
like, hey, that plant needs watering, right? We've also got, I got a little kind of like IV drip so that if we go out of town for a couple days, the plant can slowly be fed water over the time that it needs it, and for the ones that are a bit more attention required and stuff. So the process of like plant rehabilitation now is becoming step 2, and all stuff like that is available for Uncommon Goods, as I know that she's trying to get better at not killing plants. So it's great for all types of things like that. I highly recommend them. And what you're getting to as well are original handmade remarkable things. Most of the what's available is they're often made in the US as well. Out of the ordinary gifts. So check them out. Really, really awesome. Love them. Use them all the time. Not to mention, when you purchase from Uncommon Goods, they give $1 back to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So with the holidays coming up, check them out. You can get 15% off your next gift by going to uncommongoods.com/superbeast. That's uncommongoods.com/superbeast for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Thanks, Uncommon Goods.
Thanks, Uncommon Goods.
Yeah, give me
I
just
should mention, by the way, before we leave, that Paige got a big plant it's hanging out in the kitchen, and it's alive. It's been alive for months.
there you go. Good, good.
That is all. That is the update.
You gotta keep an eye on those things, right? You gotta make sure it stays healthy, and if it ever starts to dry, if a single leaf falls to the ground, you grab that and you hold that up to them. And you...
Oh no, it's dying. No, it's definitely no, it's definitely got leaves falling off.
Oh,
But
okay.
it is currently alive.
Okay. Because like the state of the plant can be used as blackmail material. uh, no. Anyway, let's take a quick second. Let me just use the bathroom and
Yeah, me
up
too.
my drink.
Yeah.
It will BRB. Okay.
Hey, before we start, I have a piece of news. Hey, did you know that if you want to transfer your Steam save file of Vampire Survivors to your phone, you literally just need to rename it from savefile.save to savefileunity.save and put it in your Vampire Survivors folder? It's true. That's it.
On an Android.
Yep. Just literally fucking rename it and drag it over. That's it.
That probably doesn't work on an iPhone.
It doesn't. Unless it's jailbroken.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Cool. It's kind of like a Balatro situation, though, where I'm like, I don't mind getting a second one going.
So here's the thing. I started to do that, and then someone told me about the save file. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll transfer it over. And then when I was about to start like doing the Among Us or Contra DLC first, at some point, Vampire Survivors lets you just be like, you know what? Turn off every single item in the base game. Turn off every item in any DLC you want. So do you want to start the Ode to Castlevania with literally just Ode to Castlevania?
Wow.
Just turn all that shit off.
You can't pretend it's not a sequel if you can turn off the old game and just play new content exclusively.
I will say I was not happy. I was not happy that my Google News alerts spoiled me on Ode to Castlevania.
I also got spoiled.
You also got that spoiled, huh?
I also got spoiled, yeah.
Because it talked about voice acting, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is Vampire Survivors.
Well, yeah. So it's, although like to the fact that there's spoilers in Vampire Survivors is crazy.
There's fucking spoilers, man.
In our goddamn cookie clicker. All right. So yeah, just a couple quick stories, I suppose. The big one, Queen Dizzy has arrived in Guilty Gear Strive, and with that, there appears to be a page out of the Dragon Ball FighterZ book. The recent patch in Strive is fucking bonkers.
I would say that this is a very brave balance patch.
The Kusoge patch meta is real now. It feels
This is too far.
It feels like we're kind of doing the like, all right, let's fuck it up and get everybody talking bit, because Guilty Gear Strive has basically reinvented a bunch of characters and drastically changed how the game and how people work.
Well, I didn't know that Kai needed a full screen infinite, but here we are.
Yeah. So there's that little video that you can watch, which is the welcome to the circus or whatever video. But like essentially, so Kai in Dragon Install now, when he does the supercharged fireball, that's an infinite. That needs to go. That's just bad. That's just bad. Can I just
raise my hand here and shame some people in the chat? I'm seeing Kusoge gear or Guilty Kusoge, which is like, no, it's Kai Kusoge. Come on.
That'll do. But as a whole, Kusogear is mode is now, because so for starters, Dizzy is in the game, and they've showed off her stuff where it's like, oh yeah, that's Dizzy. She's got Necro, she's got Undyne, the wings are there. She can shoot out the ice and the fire and all those little things. We used to talk a lot together, and the names of her moves, all that stuff you remember. And then she does this move called Wings of Light,
which Jam says isn't even that good.
Well, okay. So here's the thing: it depends. Are you good? Because there's real and there's not real. Moves can be considered real or not real. One might argue that if you stand there and don't touch the character for 10 seconds, you deserve to get hit, right? Yeah. It's a very fast game. But also, people that are very good can set up situations that make it hard to avoid. Wings of Light. 2 wings appear behind Dizzy. And if she doesn't get touched, if she doesn't get hit for 10 seconds, she can block, but she can't, and she can attack, but she can't get hit. If she doesn't get hit for 10 seconds... There's an area around Dizzy where if she gets close to you, it just sucks your life away if she's standing.
It just does unavoidable,
unblockable,
ridiculous damage,
and it's not, your character is not getting hit they're just standing there and their
They're
life
just
is getting
taking damage.
vacuumed away.
Yeah, so you just die.
It's complete, and
You
it goes
just die.
down at the speed of like Nago Ryuki's Blood Rage like life drain. It's really fast and scary.
So I joke, but in the video where Sejam talks about it, he did say something that I very wholeheartedly agree with, is that this is a win more move.
Yeah, sure.
If you're good enough to keep them off you for the full 10 seconds, you probably were going to win, and now you're going to win real hard.
Yeah. It costs her full tension, so it takes her full super bar. She can, like, whenever you do it, it drains the whole thing down, right? And the more super meter she has, the more life you're going to lose. At full damage, I think it takes about 66% of your life bar. And yeah, don't fall asleep for 10 seconds, and don't get put on the wall and forced to hold, you know, this insane mix, right? But the thing is that you're like, that's a lot, that's crazy. What's going on with the rest of the cast?
Stupid shit.
And it just turns out they said, fuck it. What if we reinvented everything from the ground up? Potemkin players are absolutely on Sudoku watch, right? Big rough day, because Potemkin, we saw him get the armored Potemkin Buster, which is his big command grab that does a you know, insane damage.
Million life, yeah.
He can now do that while you're trying to hit him, and he'll grab right through it. And a bunch of other things have gotten much stronger for him too. But why? What did he lose? He lost the ability to do his Kara buttons, which is basically by quickly tapping light kick, between kick, right? Like, just, I think he would slide forward a little bit before doing any of his other special moves, and that little bit of extra range made a huge difference to all of his moves.
Hey, I'm gonna say something real controversial. Now, I don't play a lot of Guilty Gear Strive, but when I did do it, I played Potemkin.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to play Potemkin in Guilty Gear games, and I play grapplers in games in general. Kara throw on your main throw sucks shit to actually do. Like, it's great as an offensive move, and like, it's an objectively strong option, but it fucking sucks to play. It's annoying.
A lot of people,
I don't like it.
A lot of people talked about how the biggest problem with losing this is that the muscle memory they've developed over the last couple of years is now gone for combos and stuff, right?
Well, good. It goes back to what it should have been in the first place.
So, for anybody who's like, just to, you know, to describe what the fuck the difference is between what this word Kara means or doesn't. When you go duel 1, let's rock, right? When the round starts, if Potemkin just does his big command grab to you, it'll miss. But if he presses 6K, that's what it is. If he presses forward and kick and really quickly, and then does the command grab,
slide just close enough to grab.
It'll grab you. So it goes. So like the moment the fight starts, he can grab you immediately by pressing forward kick really quickly before doing the command grab, right?
Now,
and
I'm seeing some folks say that like this is a skill issue. It's actually not, because his Kara cancel was super easy. It was really easy. It was very lenient. It was so lenient that I feel like it was like intentional that this was the case, and that's why his forward kick was like it would slide him forward so far.
So
I don't like it. It doesn't feel as satisfying. I want to churn butter and slap the fucking button and have them die.
I don't think it was intentional, and the reason why is because when you're talking about just his big Potemkin Buster, that's one thing, but it affects all of his other specials, and like a major one was Mega Fist, right? So Potemkin has a move where he hops and then shoves his fist down, and you
can go forward and backward.
Forward or backward, and forward or backward are a little bit different from each other, right? Like the speed that they come out at and how quickly they recover is different.
Yeah, but because of his Kara stuff, he actually had 6 different versions of that move.
It was crazy. You could do the backwards moving one, but actually make it move forward a little bit and make it recover fast. And that was not intended. They did not want him to have like all these crazy versions, and some of the versions allowed you to do longer combos than he originally was expected to be able to do.
I'm of the opinion that we should remove Kara's and instead just give the new throw range to Potemkin anyway. I think Potemkin should be able to grab you from 3 or maybe 4 character lengths away because his arms are really big.
Well, they eventually basically were, the idea of he needs it was more or less baked in over time because apparently it's like mentioned in the tutorial, and then a lot of like the fact that he was still not dominating competitively or whatever, regardless, all that aside, like they've made it so that now it turns out that the new version of this character is terrifying and can absolutely destroy you with all the better moves he has.
Great.
You just don't have to do that specific Kara thing
Fantastic.
anymore.
That's a win.
You just got to learn a different version of the character. And I
think if grapplers are bottom tier, that their throws should be increased in damage and range until they land in the top 10. That's how I think you should balance fighting games.
Okay, what do you want his weakness to be?
I don't care. Shut up. We can deal with that when he's
we get
tournaments.
Right. No problem. All right. Okay, so what if when he lands his command grab, his life goes to 1? He drops to 0.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So
right, fine.
So Nagaryuki, my big samurai boy, in the meantime, got some wild changes that changed him drastically as well. The biggest, simplest ones are his heavy slashes. So all the big full screen samurai slices that he does, he used to be able to like combo into those moves. He used to be able to do it and cancel it into special moves and stuff like that. Now you can't do that anymore. It's just one big hit and that's all you get. But
he's like a Samurai Showdown character. Almost.
But if his blood meter is right at the tip and he hits you with one of those, it does like a third of your life.
Great. Fair.
Yeah. And then the other thing they did is they basically made it so that like when you forcefully make yourself fill up his blood meter and he pops it and goes crazy, your ability to continue the combo afterwards exists. So you can you can force the blood pop and do these crazy plays where essentially you're trying to guarantee the kill or you die because your life starts draining. And then you do he had a big special super that's like the home run swing batter up, and it does a ton of damage. Now when you do that super, your life drops to 0. It drops to 1 basically. Mm-hmm. And you either kill with it or you're fucking done.
Fair. Fair.
So the character's archetype when you pick him on the character select screen is one shot. And this is what it means, is essentially you land a hit and you better cash out or you die. And that's all this character is about now. Absolute madness. Yeah, heaven or hell.
I like this,
baked in.
I like this era of like fighting game patches that come out and you're like, I don't even know what the game is anymore. It's like a brand new game. Like the old game never even happened.
It's crazy. You see, you know what? All the big boys are really getting the most touched here because those are the two, right? And then Gold Lewis, fucking Gold Dick Lewinson himself. Now he has those behemoth typhoons, which, if you remember, he swings the coffin around in this behemoth typhoon. So they were very good, very strong, and he could pressure you really, really aggressively with them. Now, what he can do is, before he just had a little security meter at the bottom, and it made some of his moves better over time. He can now spend that to cancel one coffin swing into another. And he gets to do, I think he can do up to 4 of them. And so what you see now are these combos where he's helicoptering around the screen, like combined with the ice on the ground from Dizzy, he can slide and just do full behemoth into down with the system and you're dead. And you're like, fair. It's crazy. It's so nuts. And you've never seen.
It's fair, is what it is.
He's basically fucking Chow Yun Fatting his way around the screen. Like, big man is now nimble and fast and terrifying. Behemoth on ice, yes, is what we get to see. It's crazy. It's crazy that they gave him that. He didn't need it, but here we are. He has it anyway. And then other wacky stuff. They gave Chip a zip line that he can just jump on top of and run around like a clown now.
Wait, what? Really? Like oh my God.
Literally in the middle of the fighting game, he creates a zip line and he can jump on it and then run on it upside down or right side up. Like, yeah. It's nuts, man. It's absolutely nuts. They went crazy on the game. Bunch of cool stuff like that and crazy things, and damage is also extremely high, so there's a lot of combos you're seeing that do almost pretty much like touch of death combos are now much more like common in a way.
Okay.
And you're seeing and the thing is like you're seeing all these kind of really crazy videos and stuff. Everything that's nuts so far, there are escapes to them. You have to know where the gaps are, where the holes are, how to avoid it. But essentially you can just die way easier than you ever could, and a lot of the cast can
everyone's
just
jealous of DNF, man.
Hey, I'm always in favor of wilding out, in these fighting games.
Great. Amazing.
Yeah.
I think these types of patches should drop before major tournaments. And I mean like morning of. That's what I fucking think. I think people should be fucking forced to figure it out on the fly.
The idea that picking Nago Ryuki is now just going, yo, rock, paper, scissors, flip a coin, let's play, is insane to me. Like, it's just like he, depending on where you're at on the screen and what you do, in most cases, like if you have a burst, you can stop me from doing my big touch of death combo. But if you don't, and I'm nice with it and I'm perfect and I land everything right, you're gonna die. And if I fuck up, then I should die as well. You should not allow me to come back from that. And then that's the whole thing. You're not gonna hurt me. I'll hurt myself. Thank you very much. Anyway, Guilty Gear is going crazy. It's crazy. And this is the first of the new characters, because after this comes Venom, and then what's her name? Unica from the anime. And then last is going to be Edge Runners, Lucy. Right? Lucy. So
Lucy Edge Runners.
Mm-hmm. And then just only other thing I saw. Kojima has big thoughts on Joker 2. Usually his tweets, you can tell by how long the text is as whether or not he liked the movie, and it seems like he liked it enough to discuss that. He thinks over the next 10 to 20 years, the reputation of Folie à Deux will change.
I don't know, Coach Jumbo. That movie seems universally reviled.
I really want to go and find out now. Because Tarantino also loves it. I saw.
Oh, that means nothing.
I'm curious.
That means less than shit.
I want to know what you see here. What are you looking at exactly? He loves it. Yeah. That's the fact that Kojima said he liked it made news articles, which was quite funny. Nintendo announced Nintendo Music.
What the fuck are they doing? Just put that shit on Spotify, you fucking dinosaurs.
No, because if we make our own music app, then this gives us the leeway to take down Gilva Sunner, to take down the Metroid music database, to take down other channels that have been hosting this music for a long time.
To be fair to Nintendo, you would be like, who would run an app on their phone to just play Nintendo music? But for Nintendo, there is a specific subgenre of freak that believes that Nintendo is all video games, and thus the only soundtrack you would ever need to listen to. That person does exist. Now that I have the Nintendo thing on my phone, that's all I need to listen to.
I have there's a member in my extended family that is one of those folks that is absolutely super thrilled.
They come off like culty, don't they?
Well, it's more just like I was a Nintendo kid hard growing up, because I had every reason to be, right?
But yeah, dude, you grew up in the fucking 90s, man. Nintendo was like 90% of all the good shit.
It was all the good shit. It was all the good shit. It was just, now when the options are available, you're like, okay, well, because like Sega kids were lying to themselves, and they were
Not the ones that played sports games.
No. If you played sports games,
Which was every kid that had a Genesis, because, man.
I said it once, and I'll say it again, Genesis won in the hood. You know?
Oh, man.
Make no mistake.
Night and day on those sports games.
But that aside, what the fuck are we talking about? Of course you're a Nintendo
Those
kid.
X-Men games are pretty great.
We're all Nintendo kids. Like, there's so much good shit. But, yeah, there came a point where it's like, oh, well, there's good shit elsewhere, too. So we just got to be real about this, you know? Hanging on at this point is just goofy, and Nintendo.
It's the video game equivalent of a Disney kid. Sorry, Disney adult.
But shoving it up, the soundtracks up on Spotify is it's fine for every other game company. Like Capcom has been doing that.
But we're Nintendo.
Yeah.
Man.
So yeah, there you go. Anyway. Usually, whenever they do something like this, it follows with a DMCA takedown of like a major YouTube channel as well. So we know what the deal is in the end. That's don't be surprised if that pops up. Don't expect any news from BioWare on N7 Day. They're going to be quieter after Veilguard.
I really gotta say, like any company that does like a fucking themed day for their community, like N7 Day, it's just like opening themselves up for like a decade of people being super annoyed. What's gonna be this year on N7 Day? Is it nothing again?
I think though, if you drop a game that if you like, so Veilguard, some people are enjoying it. If you drop a game that people aren't disappointed in, then you can buy some silent time.
Yeah,
you know, you can lay in the cut a little bit and chill. Not that I'm excited to see a big Return to Shepard trailer necessarily.
I could not be less interested in Return to Shepard specifically. If they showed off Mass Effect and they showed off anything that's not Shepard, like literally anything, I would be more excited than if they're like Commander Shepard is back.
It's just the problem. I completely agree, because I hate retreading old stupid ground that you don't need to retread. But the last new ground that they treaded also sucked. So you're like, oh no, you already tried the new thing and you did it badly, and you also didn't do enough new shit.
Let me play a goddamn Alien. Please, just let me play a fucking Turian.
So,
please,
you know. Anyway, we shall see. But yeah, I guess news in the next year for whatever that Mass Effect thing is going to be, but sure.
Well, Veilguard seems to be doing relatively well.
Yes.
So BioWare's sword of Damocles has been risen a few feet.
Dragon Age is no longer was it dead franchise? Is that the term? Would you say?
I don't know. That's a weird fucking franchise, because it felt like it was always really successful but also dead. Like it just existed in a quantum state.
Well, I mean, if people are enjoying it, and if it's like not immediately a wash, then that beats the last attempts and entries, right?
The general feeling that I'm getting from people like Gene and like KZ is that this is a cool beat 'em up,
right,
with a long story. This is not a BioWare RPG, and that, in fact, those days may be gone.
Okay. It's all going to be full action from this point forward.
Yeah, so if you want to play BioWare RPGs, go play Larian games, I guess.
I think Baldur's is just going to forever be that unfair comparison point at the end of every discussion. It's like you can't, like, even when it like even things where
I don't know how unfair that is.
But for everything, for the characters, for the story, for the world, for the options, for
support after launch,
for writing. You know, I mean, the bits where it's just like the only thing I've bits of like where it's like your heart's in the right place with your writing here, but if you don't sound like a human being, it's going to be weird. Baldur's Gate.
I would say that what appears to be happening is that Dragon Age Veilguard is a super smooth, slick, well-produced, polished to a mere shine. Apparently runs incredibly well and has almost no bugs. Like, it is fucking super smooth game.
Mm-hmm.
And Metaphor is that game that everyone I know who is playing it is like, yeah, this part's a little annoying, or unlocking this is a little fucky, but oh shit, Metaphor though. Ah! Like, it just has that spark.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's just because I feel like I forgot, like, you know, I feel like years of unfair comparisons to things in podcast discussions has just led me to be like, and from now on, everything could be like, yeah, well, Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, it's this weird thing of like, DNF came out, and DNF's pretty good, but is DNF as good as Street Fighter 2 was in 1991?
Like, what the fuck? I mean,
Overwatch is pretty all right, but is it making the impact that StarCraft did in 98? Like, that's fucking not fair, except one that was made by the same company, so it's actually super fair completely.
If the franchise,
like, when you're comparing Baldur's Gate 3 to Dragon Age, it is actually fair because the games had the same length of dev time, and BioWare used to make the Baldur's Gate games. They could have kept making Dragon Age games in the old way, and they could have just made Baldur's Gate 3. They could have done it if they wanted.
But was the previous Baldur's Gate entry something that put the franchise on life support?
No.
Then you were in good graces.
Inquisition actually did really well, despite its issues. It did really well.
Okay.
The really only blight is the Dragon Age 2 Revenge of Shit Mountain, which is the real subtitle for that game. I don't know if a lot of people know that.
Wow, that's news. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. No, but that's it. It's like it's a different feeling if this long period of time happens, but the last thing that was released here was good, and the last thing here was just like, fuck this, I don't care anymore. You know. So anyway, all right. That's
Arian's on an upward trajectory, and they've been on a really straight, like, the line just is climbing, like Div 1 to Div 2 to Baldur's Gate. So, like, the expectations for whatever Larian makes next is going to be absurd. It's probably going to be Divinity 3. That's probably what they're going to make.
I mean, they've bought enough goodwill to fucking spend this equal amount of time doing something like else,
and they did
as impactful,
dude. Like, Wooly, I don't know if you played the early access version of Baldur's Gate 3, but when I played the final release, I'm like, did you guys throw away the entire old tutorial? Like, holy shit. You know, the escaping from the ship used to be like a 20-room mini dungeon? Like, it was a fucking chapter of the game.
Wow, okay.
And then there was like, yeah, it's not working. Toss it.
Damn.
2 rooms.
Fucking
ridiculous.
All right. Anyway, that'll do. Also, we talked about the new Catholic mascot Luce last time.
I was wrong. People are digging it.
The memes have fucking turned it. I have to say, when I see her with the 2 sticks doing the Alexander Anderson
I got God an anime on my side.
The Helsing pose.
Yeah, that's good.
She's chilling with fucking I'm like, all right, Catholic Church.
All right.
You got yourself God an anime. Exactly.
You know, Catholic Church should have a goddamn regular anime. That would be good for them, I think. It's like produce a whole damn Lucha anime. Just do it.
I mean, I would say that with this Pope, they're closer than ever.
That's true.
All right, we'll take a quick letter over here.
When's the Pope going to get his VTuber?
Oh, that's actually what we're... Yes. Yeah, the Luce into a VTuber on Twitch, and then guesting with the Pope, doing a special sermon, and then they're gonna be like, "Yo, the views are through the roof. Everyone's popping off. They love it. We need to get that collab going." And then we get our Pope VTuber.
There's rumors that Gura may be retiring, but is she moving on to better and higher callings?
Oh, graduation, huh?
Yeah. Graduating into the light of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Wow. Damn. Okay. Here we go. You know, I mean, I don't know if you saw that clip of, I don't know who it was, but it's like someone, this Japanese girl was like, I was so into Ava that I wanted to read the reference material, so I read the whole Bible.
That's not. Oh, god damn it!
Because I read the whole Bible to learn the lore.
Shit, all to do with it. It has nothing to do with it.
You know, sometimes you want to check out the source material. I'm like, god damn.
Man, Anno punked like a whole generation of people with that.
Fuck.
Like they're aliens. The angels, they're fucking space aliens, guys. They're not. Oh, fuck it.
CastleSuperBeastmail@gmail.com if you want to send a letter. And yeah, I'll just grab one here from Shygar, who says. Shygar says, "Hey, Pat and Wooly, been fans of you guys since high school, over 10 years, but I've been fans of Mega 64 even longer, since 2005 to be honest. Recently they announced that they're out of funding and weeks away from shutting down. Please give them a shout out and direct people to their Twitch stream and YouTube channel. No doubt they're fans too and definitely need any help they can get. Thank you so much." Yeah. Mega 64 rules. I don't know what's going on, but fucking...
I know what's going on. They do charity fundraisers, and they got slammed by like tens of thousands of dollars of fraudulent chargebacks. Which just put their shit in the ground.
That fucking sucks. From donation chargeback cancellations that go through and then undone. Okay. Fuck. Okay. Well, Mega 64 is awesome, and I will blindly be like, yeah, hey, whatever. Absolutely. They deserve so much more because they were killing it before YouTube was a thing, and as a result, sharing QuickTime media videos and clicking on fucking website embeds doesn't lead to the same.
Oh, I think they're doing all right now, because I saw them hanging out with Genius Kojumbo like literally this morning.
Well, so that's what I was like. I'm like, is Rocco hanging out with Kojima because they're in trouble? Is Ludens going to save Mega 64?
Yeah, probably.
Because that'd be fucking sick. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Man, imagine you're playing Death Stranding 2 and you go up to a fucking bunker and Rocco just shows up on the fucking on the hologram. Yeah. You know what? God bless. That's what I hope is going on right there. I hope that the crew gets their way into Death Stranding too.
That'd be nice. They could do the pizza quest.
That you can
the second setup of the pizza quest.
You know, or just a quest that's just called "Why No White Panther."
There you go. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
And then as you get there,
God, that's a great fucking.
He just goes, "Oh yeah, okay, no, what? Yeah, yeah, okay. I thought. I don't know. You're right."
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I gotta say, there's something really overtly hilarious about not just Why No White Panther, but as far forward in Death Stranding 2's universe, there's a guy still going, so why wasn't there a white Panther? Bro, it's been like 55 fucking years. Calm down.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna call it there.
All right, great.
My body's done. My body says the podcast ends now.
Fantastic. Everybody, you be safe out there and have a good week.
Goodbye.